Nothing seemed more promising than Disney's live-action Snow White remake. Big budget, big stars, and the unmatched legacy of a timeless fairy tale. What could possibly go wrong? Yet, here we are, watching a project once hailed as Disney's. Future turned into one of the biggest fiascos Hollywood has seen in years. Could this massive meltdown spell the end for Disney Plus and place Rachel Zegler's entire career on the line? Disney was setting the stage for what they believed would be a cinematic milestone, a live-action remake of Snow White, the very story that launched the Disney empire back in 1937. But this time, everything would be bigger, bolder, and more modern. They brought in Rachel Zegler, fresh off her breakout role in West Side Story, to play the iconic princess. The budget? Huge. The expectations? Even bigger. Disney pushed this film as the future of fairy tale storytelling. Diverse, inclusive, and reimagined for a new generation. Social media lit up with excitement. Early promotional shots, teaser trailers, behind-the-scenes clips. It all pointed to a guaranteed blockbuster. The red carpets were being rolled out before the movie was even finished. But beneath the surface of that glittering marketing machine, things were already beginning to crack. It started with whispers. Nothing public, just quiet rumors from those close to the production. Rachel Zegler, while undeniably talented, was reportedly clashing with directors and producers. Some claimed she had her own vision for the character, one that didn't quite align with what Disney had in mind. Others said she came across as dismissive toward the source material, even making sarcastic comments about the original Snow White story in early press clips. Then came reports of friction on set, arguments over dialogue, creative disagreements that led to late-night rewrites. Crew members began to feel the pressure, and morale slowly dipped. And when tension builds behind the scenes, it doesn't stay hidden for long. By the time the movie premiered, the buzz had shifted. What started as excitement had turned into skepticism. Fans were uneasy, critics were waiting, and Disney, they were bracing. Then, opening weekend happened, and it was a flop. The numbers were shockingly low. The reviews were even worse. Audiences criticized the tone, the script, the changes to the original story, and most notably, Ziegler's portrayal. TikTok exploded. Memes mocked the dialogue. YouTube creators dissected every scene. Hashtags like "Not My Snow White" started trending. And it didn't stop at the movie. The backlash reached Disney Plus. Subscriptions dropped. Viewers began canceling in protest. Not just over this film, but over what many saw as a pattern of disappointing releases. Disney, the brand once known for magic, was now being dragged for what fans called lazy remakes and out-of-touch storytelling. Rather than staying quiet and letting the storm pass, Rachel Zegler did the unthinkable. She spoke out, she took to interviews and online platforms to air her frustrations. She criticized the marketing, suggested Disney hadn't done enough to support the film, and even hinted that political groups were behind the backlash. Privately, she was planning an entire media blitz, unapproved appearances on podcasts and YouTube channels where she'd tell her side of the story. She wanted to speak freely about the criticism, the studio, and what she felt was a targeted smear campaign. But that move backfired. Her management team intervened. Disney's legal department stepped in. She was given a warning. Go ahead with this unsanctioned campaign, and there would be consequences. Suddenly, Zegler was silenced. Her planned interviews vanished. Her social media activity slowed. But by that point, the public had already seen enough to form an opinion, and many weren't on her side. Behind closed doors, things were unraveling fast. Rachel, frustrated by being shut down, turned on her own team. She accused her agents of holding her back, claimed her managers didn't support her voice, and questioned the loyalty of the very people who had helped launch her career. It was a full-blown internal meltdown. At the same time, Disney was cutting their losses. Advertising for the film was reduced. In markets where ticket sales had flatlined, Snow White was quietly pulled from theaters. Executives were panicking, the press was circling, and Bob Iger, the man brought back to save Disney, was watching one of his company's most iconic properties crash and burn. What made this even more dangerous for Disney was that Snow White wasn't just a film. It was supposed to be a pillar of Disney Plus. The company had bet big on streaming. They poured billions into Disney Plus, hoping it would be their ticket to dominance in the post-cinema era. But subscribers weren't impressed. After Snow White flopped, those cracks turned into craters. Cancellations rolled in. Critics questioned if Disney had lost touch with its core audience. Even longtime fans began to walk away, saying the studio was prioritizing politics over story. And Bob Iger? Sources say he began exploring drastic options. One of them, shutting down parts of Disney Plus altogether. That's right. The streaming platform once hailed as Disney's future might not even survive the next few years. Disney's troubles didn't happen in a vacuum. Across Hollywood, other studios were watching closely and learning. The fall of Snow White sent a message. Big IP and brand recognition are no longer enough. Meanwhile, platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV Plus have adapted quickly. They've diversified their content, invested in international markets, and experimented with bold storytelling. Compared to that, Disney's approach suddenly felt outdated, stuck in a loop of recycling nostalgia instead of innovating. Streaming audiences now demand more than safe, predictable storytelling. They want risk, they want originality. And the success of non-Disney platforms shows the market is rewarding boldness, not familiarity. What does that mean for the future? It means Disney might be forced to reinvent itself or risk being left behind. So here we are. Snow White was supposed to be a celebration of Disney's legacy. Instead, it may be remembered as the moment everything started to unravel. Rachel Zegler's career hangs in the balance. Disney Plus is on life support, and fans, they're looking elsewhere for their stories. But the big question remains, can Disney bounce back? Or will the empire that once defined childhoods across generations finally lose its crown? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, Hollywood has changed, and Disney is no longer untouchable. Let us know in the comments what you think. Was this downfall inevitable? Can Rachel Zegler recover? And what would you do to save Disney's future?